Today in algebra we're learning about the quadratic formula. At the beginning of class I taught you the quadratic formula song, which goes to Pop Goes the Weasel, and it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I made you memorize it, or asked you to memorize it, and I know that it sounds silly and I don't really want to sing for you either, but if you will learn the song it will really help you to be able to use this quadratic formula. Now, previously, we've learned how to solve quadratics using the zero product property, where we factor this thing and then we set it equal to 0. That's how I get nice, neat solutions. Sometimes there's solutions that are decimals that are not nice and neat. So, how do I get those? Well, I do that using the quadratic formula when I cannot factor a problem. So let's look at example 1. Let's go ahead and figure out our a, b, and c. Our a is 2, our b is 3, and our c is negative 5. And then I'm going to plug that into my formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I plug into those spaces, and now I want to start working that out. So I'm going to do this to the side. Negative 3 plus or minus, and I'm going to do this part under the square root first. 3 squared is 9 minus 4 times 2 is 8 times 5 is 40, and a negative times a negative is a positive, so that's positive 40 all over 2 times 2 is 4. I'm going to keep simplifying. So now I have negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 49, because that's this piece right here, over 4. Negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 49 is 7 over 4. And at that point I can split it into two problems. One is negative 3 plus 7 over 4, and the other is negative 3 minus 7 over 4. Negative 3 plus 7 is 4 over 4, which is 1. Negative 3 minus 7 is negative 10 over 4, which is just negative 10 over 4, and those are our two answers. X equals 1, x equals negative 10 over 4. You could also write this as a decimal if you wanted. Let's proceed and try some more. This one, let's label our a, b, and c. A is 1, b is 2, and c is 3. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, if I wanted to work that out, I could, besides just knowing how to do it, I could also grab my calculator. I can plug it in exactly as I see it. I just need to be careful about my parentheses. Anytime I'm looking at a fraction, I always want to put the top in parentheses. So I'm going to start with 1, negative 2, plus, and you can't do plus or minus in the calculator. So I'm going to start by just doing the plus version, or the positive version. The square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3. And then, see, those are open and close, open and close. So this one's open, so I need to close it, and I need to close the one from the top. Divide by, and open in parentheses for the bottom, 2 times 1. Uh-oh, I must have done something incorrect. Wait, I didn't do something incorrect. In fact, what happened here was there was a negative. Let's go back and look at why. If I did this, the square root is 2 squared, which is 4, minus, and 4 times 1 is 4, times 3 is 12. If I do 4 minus 12, that's negative 8, and I can't take the square root of a negative number. So when I try to do that and I get a negative, my answer is no solution. Okay, let's try another one using the calculator since that one was a no solution. If I use my a, negative 3, b 5, c 2, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Watch those positive and negative signs. I'm going to go back to my calculator and try that again. So I'm going to open a parentheses, negative 5 plus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times negative 3. Notice when I'm multiplying on this part, I'm using my parentheses just so I make sure that I don't make any errors. And then I'm going to close from my square root, and I'm going to close my top. And then I'm going to divide by 2 times negative 3, and I get an answer. That answer is a decimal. I prefer fractions, so I'm going to do math, enter, enter, and it's negative 1/3. Let's try the other one. Now let me show you a really cool trick. If you hit second and then the enter button at the bottom, it says answer fraction because that's what you did previously. Hit second and the enter button again, and it brings up that original problem. I needed the plus a and the minus version, so now I'm going to scroll up. And I'm going to go over to where it should have said plus or minus, and I'm going to change that to a subtraction sign. Be careful, it's a subtraction, not just a negative. Hit enter, and that gives me my other solution, x equals 2. Now, I want to point out to you that I could have done this the traditional way that I did number 1, where I actually work all this information out, but the calculator does make it easier for me. Let me show you one more where we work it all the way out. So I have a equal to 1, b equal to negative 9, and c equal to 20. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let's work it out. Negative 9. Negative negative 9 makes 9 plus or minus the square root. Negative 9 squared, any number squared is a positive, so that's 81. Minus 4 times 1 is 4 times 20 is 80. All over 2 times 1 is 2. Continue on. 9 plus or minus the square root of, now 81 minus 80 is 1, all over 2. 9 plus or minus the square root of 1 is just 1 over 2. And then then we're going to split it into 9 plus 1 divide 2, and 9 minus 1 divide 2. If I have 9 plus 1, that's 10, divide 2 is 5, and 9 minus 1 is 8, divide 2 is 4. So my two solutions are 5 and 4. X equals 4, x equals 5. And that's all there is to the quadratic function. If you have questions, please let me know.